The Princess Queen Meets the Human Who Saved Her Mother After He Saved Her, HFY Stories. Best HFY stories, the twin suns of Altheron IV were just beginning to set, casting long golden shadows across the palace walls. Princess Lyra stood at the balcony, her fingers resting lightly on the cool railing. Her mind was filled with worry. Her mother, Queen Serena, had been caught in a dangerous situation, and it had been only by sheer luck that a human named Kai had intervened and saved her. Liara had heard of humans before. They were from a distant star system, smaller and less technologically advanced than her people, yet fiercely courageous. Stories of their bravery and cleverness had traveled across the galaxy, but to meet one in person, that was something different. Kai had already become a subject of fascination for her, though she had met him only briefly at the palace courtyard. His appearance was plain by royal standards, simple clothes, sturdy boots, and a confident, calm smile. Yet there was something magnetic about him, something that made Liara feel both curious and safe. Her mother, Queen Serena, had told her stories of the human who saved her. "He is not just brave, Lara," Serena said, her voice steady but warm. "He has a heart that sees beyond fear, beyond danger. That is what makes him remarkable." Lara turned away from the balcony as the royal guards approached. "Princess, the human wishes to speak with you," one said. Lyra nodded and followed them to the palace garden, where Kai was waiting. He was sitting on a low stone bench, adjusting the straps of a small satchel that had accompanied him from his ship. "Princess Liara," Kai said, standing and bowing slightly. "It is an honor to meet you properly." Liara smiled gently. "The honor is mine. Your bravery saved my mother, and, in a way, you saved our family." She paused, studying him. "I want to understand, why did you risk yourself to help her?" Kai shrugged modestly. "It was the right thing to do. I could not leave her in danger. Humans do strange things sometimes. We act on instinct, on what feels right." Liara considered his words carefully. Humans were different from her people. They had no grand titles, no endless laws or protocols, yet they carried a kind of courage that her people sometimes lacked. They were small, fragile, and yet capable of actions that could change the course of events. "Would you walk with me?" Lara asked, gesturing toward the garden path. "I want to learn more about you, and perhaps about humans." Kai nodded, and together they walked under the arches of blooming crystal flowers, their petals glowing softly under the fading sunlight. The air smelled faintly of rain and metal, a combination that Liara found oddly comforting. "You are far from your home," she said, breaking the silence. "How did you come to travel so far from your own star?" Kai smiled, a little wistful. "Curiosity, mostly, and necessity. Humans are explorers. We learn by seeing the unknown, by testing ourselves against challenges. Sometimes the universe throws things at us we don't expect, and we adapt. That day, when your mother needed help, I adapted." Lyra laughed softly. "You make it sound simple, but I know it was not simple. I have seen the messages from your people. The journey to reach us, it was dangerous." Kai's gaze softened. "Perhaps. But danger is part of life. Without it, we never know our own strength. And I think everyone has a chance to do something meaningful if they are willing to try." They continued walking, stepping over softly glowing stones that lined the garden path. Liara's curiosity grew with every word. She wanted to know everything. How humans traveled across galaxies in small ships, how they survived in harsh conditions, how they solved problems when there was no one to guide them. "You speak of courage and strength," she said thoughtfully, "but I do not understand yet why humans are so different from us. You do not have titles, armies, or vast fleets. And yet, you can change the course of events with small acts." Kai shrugged again, but his eyes twinkled. "Maybe it is because we rely on each other more than anything else. When you are small in a big universe, you must trust, cooperate, and act quickly. We learn to find solutions that sometimes others overlook." Lara felt a spark of inspiration. Her mother had always managed with logic and planning, but perhaps humans carried a different kind of wisdom, one that was instinctive, flexible, and daring. She had always been cautious, taught to think before acting, but Kai's presence reminded her that some choices required courage first, understanding second. As the sun disappeared behind the horizon, the palace garden transformed into a sea of soft blues and purples. Small crystal lights began to shimmer in the bushes, illuminating the path ahead. Liara stopped and looked at Kai. Would you help me learn more about your world? She asked. Not just your bravery, but your way of thinking, your perspective. Kai's face lit up with a gentle smile. I would be honored, Princess. And perhaps you can show me your world too. There is much I do not know about the life here, about the people, the traditions, the ways you see the galaxy. Liara nodded. It is a start, she said softly. A journey we can share. I am curious about humans, about you, and about the universe we live in. The next morning, Liara received a message from her mother. Liara, trust the human. He carries wisdom beyond his size, courage beyond his world. Learn from him, and you will see how strong humanity can be. And one day, you may need to travel with him. The words stayed with Lyra as she prepared for the day. She walked to the palace docks, where Kai's small ship hovered gently, waiting. Its sleek metal surface reflected the early morning light, and the hum of its engines was soft, yet powerful. She felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Kai greeted her with a friendly smile. Ready for your first lesson? He asked. Liara laughed softly. If it involves flying through space, I might be nervous. But yes, I am ready. The ship lifted off slowly, leaving the palace behind. The city's spires grew smaller beneath them, and the twin suns began to rise again, casting a warm glow across the landscape. Liara felt the thrill of the unknown, the excitement of seeing the galaxy from a perspective few of her people had ever experienced. As they traveled through the first layers of the atmosphere, Kai explained how the ship worked. Everything here is simple but efficient, he said. Humans build machines to last, to survive. We don't rely on perfection. We rely on resilience. That is the key. And once you understand that, you can travel anywhere. Liara listened carefully, absorbing each word. She reached out and touched one of the controls, feeling a subtle vibration under her fingertips. It is strange, yet comforting, she said. I never thought I would enjoy being so small in the vastness of space. Kai nodded. The galaxy is huge. And humans, well, we are tiny. But even the smallest being can make a difference. That is the lesson your mother learned, and now you will too. Hours passed as they traveled toward the outskirts of the system. Lyra observed the stars, the planets, and the occasional asteroid drifting lazily through space. Each sight was new, each moment a lesson in the scale and beauty of the universe. By the time they reached a small habitable moon, Lara felt a sense of calm she had never experienced in the palace. Here, away from walls, schedules, and expectations, she felt free. Free to learn, to explore, and to understand the human who had changed her family's fate. Kai landed the ship gently on the moon's surface. The ground was soft, covered with a light silver dust that shimmered under the light of the distant sun. Liara stepped out carefully, feeling the gentle pull of the low gravity beneath her feet. This is amazing, she said, looking around. Everything feels so different, yet alive. Kai smiled. It is alive. Every planet, every moon. It has its own rhythm. If you listen, you can learn its story, and sometimes the story teaches you about yourself. Liara looked at him, feeling a mix of admiration and curiosity. She realized that this human was not just a hero. He was a guide, a teacher, and perhaps even a friend who could help her navigate not only the stars, but also her own destiny. As the sun set behind the horizon of the moon, Lyra knew one thing for certain. Her life had changed forever, and the adventure with the human who saved her mother was only just beginning. The first light of Altheron IV's twin suns glimmered faintly on the horizon of the small moon where Kai's ship rested. Princess Liara stretched her arms and took a deep breath of the crisp, clean air. It smelled different from the palace, faintly metallic, but also fresh, like morning rain on a stone path. She turned to look at Kai, who was already inspecting the ship's exterior. You sleep well? He asked without looking up. Liara smiled. Better than I have in weeks. There's something about being here. It feels simple, honest. Not like the palace, Kai nodded. That's the frontier for you. The palace has rules, structure, protocol. Here, life tells you its own rules. You adapt, or you learn. Liara watched him for a moment. He moved with care but confidence, touching the ship's panels as though he could feel its heartbeat. She realized something important. Humans had a way of connecting with the world that was different from her people. Her people relied on plans, on authority, on the weight of titles. Humans relied on senses, instincts, and courage. Show me, she said softly, how you see the world. Teach me. Kai smiled, a little surprised, but pleased. Then we start today. Not inside the ship. Not with the controls. Out there. He gestured to the wide silver plains stretching beneath them. The first lesson of the frontier is observation. Listen, watch, and feel. Everything has a rhythm. Lyra followed him as they stepped onto the soft, sparkling ground. Every step left a faint imprint, and she noticed that the moon's gravity made her movements lighter, almost floating. Small creatures with translucent wings darted among the crystal shrubs, glowing faintly as the sun's rays touched them. See them? Kai asked. They seem fragile, but they are survivors. They have adapted to this moon in ways we can't always predict. Humans do the same, small but capable of great things if we use what we have. Liara knelt and touched one of the glowing shrubs. It felt warm and alive, pulsing gently beneath her fingers. It feels like it's breathing, she said. That's because it is, Kai replied. Life exists in many forms. You only notice it if you pay attention. For hours they explored together. Kai taught her how to move quietly across uneven terrain, how to use small sensors to detect changes in the environment, and how to read the patterns of the wind to predict the weather. Her mind, trained for diplomacy and courtly affairs, now had to learn quickly how to observe, interpret, and act. You're very fast at learning, Kai said, as she successfully spotted a small movement near a crystal bush. Most humans would take weeks to notice that. You have a keen eye, Liara laughed. I think it's because I have never seen the world this way. In the palace, everything is controlled, predictable. Here, everything is alive. As they walked, they discovered a small river winding through the plains. Its water shimmered with a soft, silvery glow reflecting the twin suns. Liara knelt and scooped some into her hands. It was cool and refreshing, and as she drank, she felt energy fill her veins. Water tastes different here, she said. Clean, untouched. It makes me feel connected to everything. Kai nodded. That's what the frontier does. It reminds you that life is bigger than just rules or orders. It's alive, and it moves on its own. They spent the afternoon setting up small instruments to study the environment. Kai taught her how to calibrate sensors, how to gather samples without harming the land, and how to map safe routes for travel. Every moment was a lesson, not just about the moon, but about resilience, curiosity, and respect for life. By late afternoon, Lyra's curiosity turned to questions about humans themselves. Kai, you left your world to travel the stars. Why? Was it just curiosity? Kai paused, considering. Curiosity, yes. But also hope. Humans are small, but we have big ideas. We want to explore, to learn, to prove that even small beings can matter in a huge universe. And sometimes we act because we see someone in need, and we cannot do nothing. That day, when I saved your mother, it was both instinct and hope. I wanted to help, and I wanted to see if we could make a difference, even across worlds. Liara looked at him, admiration shining in her eyes. It is remarkable. Humans are small, yet brave. Fragile, yet capable of great courage. I think my mother was right to trust you. Kai smiled gently. And I think you will see that courage exists in many forms. Not just in battle or danger, but in kindness, curiosity, and determination. Humans are not perfect, but we try. As the twin suns began to set, the sky transformed into a canvas of pink, purple, and gold. Liara felt a thrill of excitement. She had never seen sunsets like this, not in the palace, not even in the stories. She realized that the frontier was teaching her not just about humans, but about herself. Kai set up a small device that emitted gentle warmth and light, simulating a campfire. They sat together, watching the stars slowly emerge above them. You know, Kai said quietly, the first time I saved someone's life, I didn't think about it much. I just acted. But now I see that saving someone is also about trust, about showing the people are not alone. Your mother trusted me, and now you are learning to trust too. Lyra's gaze softened. I do trust you, Kai. Not just because you saved my mother, but because you see things differently. You notice things others miss. You see the value in life, in small actions. Kai nodded. That's the frontier. Small actions can matter a lot. And sometimes a small choice changes everything. That day, I chose to help your mother. That choice rippled across worlds. And now you are here, learning, seeing, and perhaps ready for your own choices. Night deepened and the stars above sparkled like diamonds scattered across black velvet. Liara lay back on the soft silver grass, staring up, feeling a sense of wonder she had never known. "Do you think humans can really make a difference in the galaxy?" she asked softly. Kai sat beside her, thoughtful. "I know we can. We are small, yes, but determination and courage can carry anyone farther than fleets of ships or armies of soldiers. We show that intelligence, empathy, and bravery matter more than power alone. And sometimes, being human means seeing the bigger picture even when it is frightening." Liara felt the warmth of his words sink in. She realized that humanity's strength wasn't just in action, but in spirit, and in that moment she felt inspired, not just to explore the stars, but to grow as a leader worthy of her mother's trust. As they settled near the glowing camp device, Liara asked, "Kai, what is next? After this moon, where do we go?" Kai smiled, a glint of excitement in his eyes. "The galaxy is full of unknown worlds, some beautiful, some challenging. We travel, we learn, and we discover. And who knows, maybe you'll discover parts of yourself along the way too." Lyra nodded. "I want to see it all, learn everything, understand not just humans, but the galaxy itself." Kai glanced at the horizon, where a distant planet reflected the light of the twin suns. "Then the journey begins, Princess. And remember, no matter how vast the galaxy is, you are not alone. You have me, and we will face it together." Liara smiled, feeling a mixture of awe, gratitude, and determination. She had been sheltered in the palace for so long, and now, under the twin suns and starlit skies, she understood what it meant to be truly alive. The night passed gently, filled with quiet conversations, laughter, and lessons under the stars. Laya learned not just about the galaxy, but about courage, trust, and the beauty of the unknown. Kai's presence was steady, reassuring, and inspiring. Together they were not just exploring a new world, they were discovering a new way of life. And in that vast, glittering frontier, Liara knew that her life had changed forever. A bond had formed, stronger than any title, deeper than any law. The bond between a human who had saved her mother and a princess ready to discover the universe for herself. The adventure had only begun. The morning sun stretched across the silver plains of the moon, painting everything in pale gold. Princess Lara woke to the soft hum of Kai's ship nearby. The twin suns had just peaked above the horizon, casting long shadows across the sparkling dust. For the first time, Lyra felt at home on a world so far from her palace, so far from her responsibilities. Kai was already outside examining the strange crystal flora that grew along the riverbank. When he saw Lyra, he waved her over. "Morning. Ready for today's adventure?" Liara nodded, brushing her hair back. "Yes, but where are we going exactly?" Kai smiled. "Today, we explore the hidden valleys of this moon. Few creatures even dare go there, and the reason I brought you, well, it's not just to see the land. There's something unusual in the valley, something I want you to notice." Liara's curiosity sparked. She had learned a lot in the past day, how to observe patterns in the wind, how to move lightly across uneven terrain, and how to listen to the subtle signals of life around her. But now the thrill of mystery made her pulse quicken. As they walked, the soft silver dust shifted under their feet, leaving faint footprints that glowed for a moment before fading into the ground. Small winged creatures followed them briefly, curious but cautious. Liara laughed softly. "It feels like the world is watching us." Every life form leaves a mark, even if you cannot see it. That's the lesson of this moon. Everything is connected. After several hours of walking, they approached the edge of the valley. The land dropped sharply, revealing a breathtaking sight. Crystalline cliffs that reflected the twin suns' light, and a river flowing through the center that glimmered like liquid silver. Mist rose gently from the water, curling around jagged rock formations. Lara gasped. "It's beautiful, like a dream." Kai smiled. "It is beautiful, but beauty often hides secrets. And I think this valley has one." They descended carefully along the cliffs. As they moved deeper, Liara noticed faint patterns etched into the rocks. Strange symbols, glowing faintly, seemed almost alive. She reached out to touch them, and a soft vibration ran through her fingers. Kai observed her reaction. "These symbols are part of an old communication system," he explained. "I've read about them in human records, but I've never seen one in person. They respond to attention, to touch, to thought. They are the moon's way of talking to those who listen." Lara looked at the symbols in awe. talking without words, without voices, only feeling and thought. Kai nodded. Yes, humans learn from the universe in the same way. Observation, understanding, connection. You already know how to see what others miss. That is why you are learning quickly. They continued down the valley, carefully stepping over glowing crystals and climbing small ridges. Liara felt a thrill of discovery. This was more than a lesson in exploration. It was a journey into the very heart of a world alive with secrets. Suddenly, the river widened into a small lagoon. Its surface reflected the skies perfectly, and in the center a large crystal formation rose like a natural tower. The glow from the symbols along the valley walls intensified near the lagoon, as though the place itself recognized their presence. Kai paused. This is it. This is the reason I brought you here. Liara stepped closer to the lagoon. She could see faint images shimmering in the crystal tower, scenes of people, creatures, and landscapes she did not recognize. The symbols along the valley walls pulsed in time with the images, like a heartbeat. "What is this?" she asked. Kai smiled softly. "It is a memory vault of the moon. It stores the essence of life that has existed here, the patterns of survival, the lessons of those who lived and adapted. If you pay attention, you can learn from it. You can understand the rhythm of life itself." Laya reached out, touching the edge of the crystal tower. Images rippled through her mind, creatures learning to survive, rivers shifting courses, plants adapting to harsh winds. She felt a strange connection, as if the moon were speaking directly to her. Kai watched, impressed. "You can feel it, can't you?" The lesson isn't just in observation, it is in understanding life's flow. Adapt, learn, respect, that is the key to survival. Liara nodded slowly, her heart racing with excitement. "It's incredible. I feel as if I can understand so much more than I could ever learn in a palace." Kai smiled. "That's the frontier. Knowledge comes not from books or orders, but from experience. From paying attention, asking questions, and respecting the world around you. Humans know this well. That's why we survive." The sun climbed higher, and Lara and Kai spent the rest of the morning studying the symbols in the lagoon. Liara's mind buzzed with new understanding. How life, no matter how small, adapted and survived. How every choice, every step, mattered. After a pause, Liara looked at Kai. "Why did you bring me here? Was it just to learn, or is there another reason?" Kai met her gaze. "Both. I want you to learn, yes. But also, I want you to see that strength doesn't always come from titles or power. It comes from understanding, courage, and the choices you make. You will need these lessons, Liara. The galaxy is wide, and not all of it will be safe or predictable." Lyra nodded, a new determination forming in her chest. "I want to learn everything. I want to be ready for whatever comes."
Kai's expression softened.
Humans are small, yes, but our hearts are big. And the lessons you are learning here about observation, respect, and courage are what make anyone capable of great deeds. As afternoon turned to evening, they returned to the ship. Liara's mind was full of thoughts, images, and ideas. She had seen not only the beauty of the moon, but also its intelligence, its way of teaching those who paid attention. Kai piloted the ship gently above the valley, letting them hover for a moment. "Look," he said. "Even from above you can see the connections, rivers, cliffs, plants, all part of the same system. Life works together." That is what humans try to do too. Cooperation, observation, learning, that is how we thrive. Lyra gazed down at the valley, feeling a deep respect for both the world and for Kai. She realized that humans were extraordinary not because they had armies or fleets, but because they could think, adapt, and act with courage and intelligence. The twin suns dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink, purple, and silver. Liara felt a calm she had never known in the palace. She had learned much in just 2 days, but more importantly, she had discovered a new way to approach life, leadership, and the universe. Kai set the ship down on the soft plains near the river. "Tomorrow, we continue. There are other moons, other worlds, and more lessons waiting for us. The galaxy is vast, and there is much to explore." Lyra smiled. "I am ready. I want to see it all. I want to understand life and humans better than anyone else." Kai's eyes twinkled. "Then the adventure continues. And remember, Lara, what you have learned here, what you feel now, is only the beginning. Knowledge, courage, and connection, Those are the true tools of survival and leadership. As night fell, Lyra lay on the soft silver grass, staring at the stars. She thought of her mother, of the human who had saved her, and of the countless worlds waiting beyond the horizon. For the first time, she felt not like a princess constrained by a palace, but like a traveler of the stars, ready to face the unknown with courage and intelligence. Kai sat nearby, quietly watching the skies, a sense of quiet pride in his heart. He had taught much, but he had learned too, from her curiosity, her courage, and her willingness to embrace the unknown. Together they were not only discovering worlds, they were discovering the potential of humans and aliens to connect, to understand, and to thrive. And in the glittering light of twin suns and countless stars, Liara knew one thing for certain. The universe was vast, mysterious, and full of challenges. But with knowledge, courage, and the bond she shared with Kai, there was nothing she could not face. The journey had only deepened, and the greatest lessons were yet to come.